Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's. At Local Joe's, we help local business. Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's.
This is City Pulse Newsmakers, a weekly look at the issues and the people behind them in Greater Lansing. Brought to you by City Pulse, Lansing's weekly alternative newspaper.
Thank you, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here today, especially on such a nice day. I want to acknowledge my executive staff. I've never seen that many of them here on a Friday. But the real reason they're here is because there's no telling what I'm going to say, so they want to they want to edit it. So before I go over a few things that are going on at the BWL, I will give you a little more background. As Brill said, I started pushing broom at Erickson Power Station 39 years ago. And I've worked my way through the company through about 9 different positions, and as he said, I find myself back in the corner office again for the second time. The first time when I was asked to step in, the commission said it'd be a 30-day stint. Well, they drug their feet for a year, and I was asked to stay, and I wasn't interested at that point in my career. So now I'm back there. Most of my experience has been through the operations side of the company. I was the plant manager of Erickson Station, Eckert Station. I was the director of operations, the electric production director, and then I did a stint over on the water side of the company. Now, the last 7 years, I spent my career in the capital side of the company doing large capital projects, which I really enjoyed. So now I'm back in the corner again. So it's a very exciting time for the board right now. We have been diligent on trying to secure our utility needs for the future. Let me tell you a little bit of what we've accomplished. We have rebuilt both of our water treatment plants. We have a 40 million gallon plant on Cedar Street. We have a 10 million gallon a day plant on Wise Road. Both of those plants have been rehabbed and ready to produce potable water well into the future. We also built a chilled water facility in a corner of Pine on Allegan. It can produce 10,000 tons of chilled water to our business customers downtown. And obviously the Rio cogeneration plant, which produces 300,000 pounds of steam and 105 megawatts. And at the same time, we built a new corporate office building that's a 45,000 square foot building that allowed us to move about 180 folks to the Rio town area. Now, what do we still have to do? Our T&D system hasn't been modernized since the 70s. That's transmission and distribution system. So we opened a capital project this year that'll take 5 years to complete and cost about $105 million. Part of that project will be to build new substations, to reinforce our lines, replace some of our old transmission system, to make sure that we can deliver our electric load well into the future. What else do we need to do? Our Eckert Power Station, located downtown, has been supplying about 420 megawatts of power since long before I was born. It's nearing the end of its useful life. So to plan for that right now, we are undertaking an IRP process to see how to replace that generating asset. That will take about, well, I expect to have that report on my desk the first quarter of next year so that we know how to plan for the future for our electric customers. Now, let's talk about the financial side of the company for a minute. We just finished our fiscal year in June. We were budgeted to bring in about $375 million in revenue. Of that $375 million, $65 million of it is earmarked for capital. Now, if any local business in the Lansing region was to announce a $65 million project, it'd make the newspaper. We do it every year, and that's an advantage that we kind of are unsung heroes there. There's job development there, there's economic development. So every year the BWL does about $65 million in capital work, and that doesn't include when we build new plants, like the chilled water plant or the Rio plant. Those are in addition. Now, our net income last year was in jeopardy because we were $15 million under our gross income because of the cool summer. Most of our revenue is brought in June, July, and August. So we were $15 million under our $375 million budget. We figured that out about January. We knew we were in trouble, and I knew that would negatively affect our net income. So I gathered up the executive staff and asked them, what can we do to not negatively affect the bottom line, which negatively affects our customers? So they had some suggestions, and one of them was that they said we should do an employee survey. We need to see what the employees are thinking out there. There's 720 minds out there working, sharp individuals. So we did the survey, and a few things come out of the survey. One thing that was very encouraging, that 80% of our employees were very satisfied with the job they were doing. On the other side of the coin, they thought that they were being stifled and that the communications was lacking in our area and that everything was being bottlenecked at the executive office. Decisions that should have only taken a day or two were taking weeks. And he says, that's your efficiency loss. If you allow us to do the job that we are paid to do, we can help you on this net income problem. So we did. We pushed the power down into the organization. And the first thing the managers did is went out and hired 20 new employees. Which was a $3 million annual hit to the budget, and that sent a shiver up my spine. But we just took a preliminary look, unaudited, my CFO is sitting there, at our net income. And not only did we hit our net income, we exceeded it by 3 times. Now that is great for the Lansing residents and our customers, because I want to talk about rates for a minute. We've raised our rates about 54% in the last 7 years. That has eroded our differential on a residential bill between a BWL customer and a consumer's energy customer down to 4%. It had been in double digits. If there's one advantage to a publicly owned utility, it's supposed to be lower rates. Now, with us holding the line on all of our rates this year, all 4 of our utilities, electric, water, steam, and chilled water, and consumers' energy having a modest electric increase, we have that rate differential back to 9%. And with the good news on our net income, I expect that to be in the double digits by next year. So the last thing I want to talk to you about here is, it's very brief, is that like the Rotary, the BWL will continue its long history of supporting the community in events like Silver Bells, Chili Cook-Off, Adopt a River, and tomorrow the 5K run, which I hope to see some of you there. It's supposed to be nice weather. I kept my remarks very brief today because I want to make sure there's adequate time to answer your questions, because I think that is more important than me going over some facts and figures for here. So with that, I would entertain any questions. They're going to bring a microphone to you.
Well, I have 2 questions. He wants me to stand up. Number 1 is, how long is the interim title going to be there? Are you having a good time?
Okay, I'll answer that question. The commissioners, when they asked me to step up for the second time, they didn't pull the wool over my eyes and say it'd be 30 days. They said that they are going to do nothing for a full year, and then they would look at a filling position permanently. I have told them about 6 months ago that I am interested in the position and will apply when it becomes available. Now, I may need some help there because the last job I applied for was a janitor's job. Every position and that resume is probably overqualified for this job. So the bottom line is that every position I've held in a company I've been appointed to. So, and am I having a good time? It's an exciting time. The future of the company, the board is in great shape. We have prepared for the future. We have addressed our environmental needs. We have addressed our long-term generation needs. And we're in the process of doing that, but like I said, our water plant, our chill water plant, our corporate office building, we are a partner here, and we are here to help make the city and the region around the city succeed.
And my second question, I'm not exactly sure how to frame this politically correctly.
Well, you're talking to the right person then.
Where is this whole thing about the ownership of the Board of Water and Light and or the potential sale of the Board of Water and Light heading? What's the strategic thinking and activity going on behind the scenes?
Okay, well, Obviously, the Board of Water and Light is owned by the citizens of Lansing. And if the citizens at some point choose to change the ownership or sell the company, I work for them. I will follow whatever their lead is. Now, I also will be able to help them explain pros and cons. The mayor has appointed a financial health team to investigate all of the assets of the city, and the board will be one of them. I've already had a meeting with them. I've told them that if they need whatever information they need, that our staff will get that for them in a timely manner. And they will not find any obstruction when we present our requested information to present to them. We have nothing to hide. Oh, yes. All right.
Distracted. Dick, two questions. The first is I looked through my gift bag and I didn't see the 50% off coupon. And I wondered if that happened to everybody else.
Went to the preferred customers.
The other is, you guys have waded into alternative energy with your solar. Do you have long-range plans for alternative energy?
Yes, we do. We were one of the first people to put the solar array in. We have bought into the wind farm up in Ithaca, and we will have an announcement very shortly about the largest solar array to be built in the state, far larger than the investor utilities that are 10 times bigger than us. Can I say anything about that? No, okay, sorry, that's about all I can say about that.
Would you comment, over here, would you comment about how you handle people who do not pay their bills, their water bills, their electric bills, and do you proceed to shut-offs and the consequences of that? What is your policy regarding people who have difficulty paying their bills or refuse to do it?
Okay, the board's policy has a policy on turnoffs. We don't do turnoffs during the winter months. We do them during the summer. It's unfortunate we do almost 100 turnoffs a day. It saddens me. We contribute a lot of money to different charities that can help those people, about $400,000 a year that we contribute to help people that can't pay their bills through different charities. We work with the customers. We will do a payment plan. And we did stop doing shutoffs on Fridays because a lot of these people they're frequent flyers. That's not a negative term. It's they get their power shut off and they can scrape up enough money to come have their power turned on. Well, if it's shut off on a Friday, they don't get it turned back on to Monday. So we stopped doing that. So if they get their power shut off on a Thursday and they can make a payment arrangement, we'll run right back out there Friday. And if it's not to close a business, we'll still go out there and try to keep their power turned on. But we do have a policy that we apply equally, but we have service representatives that will work with each individual. I've actually personally gone out and dealt with some of the customers to try to keep their power on because we want the revenue, but we also have to be sensitive to the 90+% people or 95% of the people that pay their bills on time.
An agreement was made between the Board of Water and Light and consumers regarding FRIB. If your rate differential is significant, I understand you're splitting some of the profits. What is the long-range outlook for the Board of Water and Light in this, and how did the university happen to choose consumers to do the construction and to be the primary in this arrangement?
Okay, that's an easy, actually an easy answer for us. So we entered into a joint agreement with Consumers Energy to split the profits of the FRIB. It's a very good deal for the Board of Water and Light. We're going to receive about $250,000 a year in revenue, and we don't have to contribute any, there's no liability to our company. MSU made it very clear that they didn't want to fight over the FRIB. The board believed they had the right to serve out there. Consumers believed they had the right. Even though Consumers is a competitor, much larger than us, we sat down at the table. George Stojic, our strategic planner, spent 3 years working with Consumers to draft this agreement. Consumers is building infrastructure, and they will split the revenue with the board, and that's a 20-year plan, so it's pure profit. If we had to generate $250,000 in revenue a year, that's about $4 million in gross sales, so with no exposure. So we're very pleased with this agreement, and the reason this agreement took so long is that Consumers was interested in doing this agreement, but then saying the board could no longer serve MSU. And we were not going to sign on for that. MSU has spoke to us. They are looking for some renewable energy, and we're hoping to be able to supply that from either our windmill farm or our new solar array coming up. So that's how that agreement was set. It is a very attractive agreement for the board customers, and obviously Consumers is happy with it, or they wouldn't have signed on.
I know you're too humble to let everybody know that you are a Lansing Community College alumnus, but I'll do that for you.
It's because it took me 6 years to get through 2 years of school.
I know that having a skilled workforce is a challenge, and you are doing something very creative that may soon become a model for other industries in the town. I wonder if you could share with us a little bit about the First Step program.
Sure. The First Step program was started a few years back. What it was, we took 10 individuals, and I'm not sure I have all the details right, 10 high school kids, and we mentored them. They're paired up with an individual in our company. We worked agreement with the union. They were on board so they could work side by side. And when they successfully complete the program, we contribute towards a stipend towards their college education. I believe it's $1,500 a month. Under my administration, we are looking to expand that. We're going to 12 students, but we're also going to engage the community to step up. We've brought a consultant on that can work with the city. I want to work this through the city's office to see if other companies are interested in doing this. It does cost money. You're tying up employees' time working with them, but it's been very successful. We have some of those folks, those kids actually stay on. The path for them wasn't to go right off to college then, so we'll run them through apprenticeships. And out of the 7 years, all I can tell you is that only one person has failed out of this program of the 10 we do a year over the last 6 or 7 years. So it's been very successful, and there is a shortage in this country of skilled trade workforce. We have 200 employees, myself being one of them, can walk out the door tomorrow with full pensions, and we need to plan on how to replace those employees. So that's First Step program is a very small step, so to speak, on how to do that. But the board has been proactive on this, and we'd like to expand this program throughout the community.
In the event that the Board of Water and Light would be sold, I'm assuming, as I think we all do, that Consumers would be the purchaser in this area. And so I'm wondering, how does the wage scale of Consumers' energy workers compare with the wage scale of the Board of Water and Light?
The wage scale is compatible because when we have to attract labor, and if you are hiring a line worker, it takes about 8 years through apprenticeships and skill to get them where we want to be. We don't want to put 8 years of training in them and have them go to another utility. So our HR group looks at, we call them skill families, from executives right down to the janitor's position to make sure that we're competitive with the surrounding businesses as well as other utilities so that we don't get cherry picked, because there is, we have lost a few people with Consumers Energy, but we've also attracted a few. So it's a back and forth, as well as Detroit Edison. So we're very sensitive to making sure we pay an appropriate wage so we can retain the people that we've put so much time and effort into.
Is it higher or lower?
Some jobs are more, some jobs are less. Yep.
Following up on the discussions of selling the Board of Water and Light, you indicated you'd provide all the financial information that the city might request of you, and you also indicated you'd provide some insights into the pros and cons of doing that. And I was wondering if you could explain to us some of those pros and cons as well, because I'm trying to understand why someone would want to consider selling the Board of Water and Light.
Well, right now, it's a little premature because I haven't had been requested. I've had one meeting with the financial health team to let them know that what they need from us that we can deliver. I basically, right off the cuff, I can say an advantage to having a public utility is supposed to be lower rates, and that's why we're working to ensure that we keep those rates lower. So until we dig into it and see what they're requesting, what they need, and I expect those meetings to start taking place. There isn't any scheduled yet, but we'll know more then. So I really don't have much of a feel for right now, other than our rate advantage is one reason that it's definitely a pro to keep the company a public utility.
From a curiosity question, I understand that presently you pay in lieu of tax or a dividend to the city of Lansing. Is that a set amount that's determined annually? Is it variable? How is that set, and what impact does that have on rates?
Well, the amount is a percentage of gross income. It's about $22 million this year that the board pays in 2 payments to the city. It used to be on a 5-year contract, so to speak. I haven't been part of the company, so I don't know where we're at in that contract right now. I think it was just done a year or so ago, but it is based on gross revenue, and it's a percentage of gross revenue. And like I said, this year it totals $22 million. Anybody from the company? Evaluations are coming up.
Some of us may recall there was this little ice storm a couple of years ago.
I worked in the water department
of concerns about the culture of BWL.
Okay, there was about 182 recommendations, and we have addressed and implemented every one of those. Some are ongoing right now, and we are working in the next month or so to put that in a format that we can put it on our website or have a meeting to show people what we've accomplished, because it's been a lot of work, a lot of expense, and it didn't fall on deaf ears. And the culture piece of it, like I said, I worked in a different part of the company. I'm not dodging a bullet. I was part of the BWO when this took place. But we have set up a new staff to address things different. When the windstorm came through the other night, we had 2 circuits go down. We had 750 people are out for a few hours, and those are both circuits that we haven't been able to get to yet on our tree maintenance schedule. Prior to the ice storm, the board had about 5 tree trimming crews. We have 33 crews on board right now trying to catch up on work that we had been delinquent in doing in the past. So the culture is that we are going to keep our utilities on and running and to meet our customers' expectations. And I'm looking forward to when Mr. Stojic gets the report all in a format that we can send out to the public to show what we've accomplished, because it is an expense. We have Trent on board, who has ties all through the community, so the board has become the hub for emergency management. The meetings are all held at our spot now. The counties call us, the cities call us. We've become a leader where we were definitely deficient in the past.
There's one more over here.
Oh, no problem. He's headed your way.
Oh, Ann. First of all, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
I'm one of your customers. So my concern, and given what I do, I'm a leadership consultant, is about leadership. As I sat in my cold house a couple of years ago, despite the fact that I was cold and wondering when things were going to happen because there were no crews in my neighborhood, I was listening to the way the board and the mayor and your commissioners presented themselves to the community about what was going on. I was distressed by the lack of leadership, not just from Mr. Lark, but from all of you. And my concern is that following this, what are you doing to promote good, strong leadership development in your ranks? All of you at that table, you, sir, you know, what are you doing to make sure that the next time because there will be a next time that we face a crisis in this community, you are coming to the fore, you are owning what has happened, you are giving us the communications we need outside of the texts and here's the number you can call, but the way you're presenting yourself as an organization to this community so that we trust you and have faith that you can get the job done for us.
Well, we definitely learned a lot through the CRT recommendations. Also, the Public Service Commission weighed on some things that we needed to do. We have drills and meetings constantly on how to respond to the customers. We have a new customers relationship people out there. We have a gentleman, Bob Perialis, who's not here, in Calvin, to try to keep people informed. But we will definitely strive this time to make sure that everybody, when it happens again, and you're right, it's not if, it's when it happens again, that the customers know what's going on. I was a worker there, and I was frustrated because if we knew that we were going to be out 9 days, we needed to say that right out of the chute so people can make plans. And that's what we do now with our outage management. We try to give an accurate estimate to come back so you can make plans. The people, if we'd have told people we were going to be out 10 days and we came back in 9, the majority of people would have said, wow, they did this a little better. But when you tell people you're going to be out a couple days, you're out 9, it's unacceptable. They can't make plans. They couldn't go to hotels. They didn't know what to cancel. We had an outage at Thanksgiving in the Delta Township area. And we got out on social media. We got to the township representatives because it was about 4 o'clock. It was a cable fault, and people are cooking their turkeys and wondering, how long is this going to be, or did I cancel my plans? And we told them that our best estimate now is about 4 hours. To get you back so that you can make plans to continue to have your family event. And we got a good response back from that. So we are learning. We're not there, but we will continue to work towards getting your support and your trust back.
Thank you. 9/11 happened 14 years ago, and there's always a thought about an attack on our power grid. Mm-hmm. Where are we locally and nationally, if even computer-wise, we had an attack? How are we prepared?
Okay. We did recently hire an employee that can help us through cyber attacks. It's a full-time employee, so that they're monitoring our computer system. As far as the electric grid, it is a big change. It was just made as in June. Up until July, we did not have the ability to import all of our electric needs. We could only import about 1/3 of them. So if somebody was to have damaged one of our plants and we had to import more than 1/3 of our load, we'd have been left without enough power to serve our customers. So we constructed 3 new interconnects to the outside world, so that if we have some kind of catastrophic failure internally, we can now import all of our power needs. Now, that being said, the grid is getting tight with consumers in Edison looking to close so many coal plants down. Getting the power could be a challenge, but at least we now have the availability to get it if we need it. The Board of Water and Light is long on generation, meaning that we inject power into the market, which is a very good position to be in. We don't have to rely on market swings. We inject it, and when the price goes up, we'll put more in the market, and that's what's helped this company keep the rates down for years and years.